project, I'm using size 4 yarn from the brand I Love This Yarn, and the first thing that I'm going to do is create a slip knot, and after I've created the slip knot, then I'm going to chain a chain that is long enough to wrap around my rib cage from this side of my body all the way to this side, and this is going to serve as the base of the top. So you want to make sure that you measure that out correctly. And the reason I am not giving a certain amount of chains is because every body type and every body size is different. So just go by what fits you. So make a really long chain and then stop and kind of like measure it against yourself. And then when you like the coverage, then that's when you know that you're done with the chain. Once you have finished creating that chain and you're happy with the way it wraps around your torso, then you're going to go back on that chain with a single crochet. Now if you are a beginner to crochet or a beginner to my channel, I would definitely suggest that you first watch my Crocheting for Beginners video and then practice with some more beginner friendly videos as opposed to this one, because I've been making crochet tutorials for so many years now. I just tend to go through them pretty quickly for all my subscribers who've been subscribed to me for years. So yeah, if this is the first video of mine that you're watching, then I definitely suggest that you watch some more beginner friendly videos first and then come back to this tutorial. It will make a lot more sense afterwards. But yes, I'm just going to crochet a row of single crochet all the way down the chain, and then once I get to the end of the chain, you're going to make sure that you go all the way to the end of the row into the very last stitch. And once you reach the last stitch, you're going to chain one, flip the project over, go into the very first stitch of the next row, and then continue on single crocheting. As I mentioned before, this portion of the top is going to be the base, and it's going to be the part that wraps around your rib cage. That's why we measured out how many chains it would take to wrap around your rib cage. So however thick you want this portion to be, if you want it to be a crop top like mine, then you make about this many rows. If you want it to be shorter, then you can make this many rows, and if you want it to be longer, then you could just make a bunch of rows. Like I mentioned before, I don't count stitches or I don't count rows, and that drives some people insane, like absolutely insane. Sometimes I get comments that are like, I've been crocheting for 20 years and the way that you crochet frustrates me so much. And yes, that's how I actually read the comments as well. But I will admit that my way of crocheting is unorthodox, and that's because I taught myself. And no, I didn't teach myself as in like I got crochet books and studied on how to crochet and practice, or watch YouTube videos and taught myself how to crochet. No, I was a little 5th grade child stuck at home for summer vacation or something like that, and all I had was a yarn and a crochet hook, and I just figured it out. I just taught myself how to do these things, and then along the way I figured out that all these stitches and stuff had names, so that's why I'm at least able to let you know what stitch I'm using. But for everything else, I'm pretty much doing my own thing. I pretty much made everything up, and for some people it works and for some people it doesn't work, and that's okay. But I just wanted to let you know that, just in case you are new here and you're still here, even though I recommended that you first watch my Crocheting for Beginners video / some other beginner friendly videos where I properly walked you through all the steps of making a crochet top or other crochet project. By now I'm just gonna quickly show you guys how I did this and then move on. I've been doing this for too long. But anyway, I still appreciate that you watch my videos, and I still love crocheting, and every single time I crochet something, I have to share it. That's just like in me now. If I crochet something, I'm like, I have to make a video about it. I don't know why, but anywho, I'm already approaching the end of this row now, and once I reach the end of this row, I'm just going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to make sure that I go into every single stitch, that way I'm not decreasing and making my project any shorter. We don't need to do that yet. So yeah, I am approaching the end of the end of the row right here. I'm going to make sure that I go into the very last stitch, and then I'm going to chain one, flip the project over, go into the very first stitch of the next row, and then just continue on making rows and rows of single crochet until I put the project against myself and I am happy with the coverage. Again, I'm planning on making mine a crop top, so I don't have to make as many rows of single crochet as I would if I needed to make this a full top and like cover my belly button or something. But again, it's all up to you, so I will check back in with you once I have completed about this many rows, and then I'll tell you what I did next. Okay, so now that I'm satisfied with the width of this portion of the top, I'm going to start off from this point right here. I want the direction of the stitches on the top portion to differ from the bottom portion, so instead of working like this, we're now going to be working like this. So instead of horizontally, we're going to be working vertically now. And to do that, I'm going to chain 2. Okay, so originally I was planning on crocheting a base with single crochet, so I'm working horizontally and making the crochet base. This is the part that's going to wrap around your torso, and then after I crocheted that, I was going to move on to the portion that's going to cover my chest, and I was going to work vertically from there. And my original plan was to kind of make it like a halter top and start off small and then increase from there, but that was way too complicated and unnecessary. And by the end of me crocheting this top, I realized that all I really had to do was crochet a chain straight up and then work my way across, and I'd be done. So you could totally just skip the part where I'm explaining to you how to increase every stitch, because you really don't need to do that. All you need to do is chain a chain that is long enough to cover your chest from the base, and then work on it from there. So from this point, you're going to chain 2, and then in that chain that you created, you're going to create a double crochet, which is yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2 loops, and yarn over through the last 2 loops. And then you're going to create another double crochet inside the second chain that you just made. And then finally another double crochet within the first stitch that you made that chain from. I know it got really confusing really fast, but basically now we're going to be working vertically, and then not only that, but we're also going to be increasing. That way it could eventually turn into a halter shape, so we need it to slant this way but then also grow this way. And like I said earlier, that's actually not necessary. All you have to do from that original point is chain a chain that is long enough to cover from the base of the top to the top of your chest, and then just work on it vertically from there until you reach the other side of your chest and you're happy with the coverage. So all this increasing after every row nonsense that I'm doing is not necessary. If you just originally chained a chain and then started doing the double crochets vertically on it, then that's all you had to do. You don't have to actually do what I'm explaining to you right here, but if you want to do it like this, then you totally can. I just think that the other way would have been way easier to do. So from here, you're going to then create a double crochet into the next stitch and basically do the exact same thing. Now you're going to work on it right here, go into all the stitches with a double crochet, and after you reach the top of this part that you're working on right here, you're going to increase by chaining 1, and that will add a new stitch to the row, overall increasing the number of stitches per row and making the project, or this portion of the project, longer, which is great because you need this to cover yourself. And I will show you what it looks like after a couple more double crochets here. And boom! It kind of looks funny, I know, but just imagine it wider, taller, and all across this portion of the top. So far it looks a little bit wonky, but it'll all come together. So we want it to slant inward, and then we're going to have it flat for a while so that it covers your chest. And then on the opposite side, we're going to do basically the opposite. We're going to start off from wide and then get smaller so they could match this side. And again, I know that's confusing, but basically just continue what I've been telling you. Every time you reach this part of the top, then you're going to chain one to add an extra stitch to what we're working on right here. And then once you've done that, you're going to double crochet all the way down, and then go into the next stitch, and then double crochet all the way up. And then once you're up here, then you're going to chain one. And yeah, then I will check in with you in a little bit. And this is what it looks like. It kind of looks like a cup, which is funny. And what's great about using a different stitch other than single crochet like we did at the bottom is that double crochet is not as tight as single crochet, so it's much wider. So when you're working with it, it kind of has to bunch up, and that is exactly what we are going for. We're going for that like ruffled, bunched up look. But yeah, the reason I wanted to stop and show you my progress is because I have reached the point where I'm actually happy with the height of this portion. So I'm going to stop chaining one at the end here and stop like increasing it because I don't want it to get any taller than this. I want it to stay straight. So all I'm going to do now is just like not chain one and then just flip the project over once I go into the very last stitch, and then go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until I reach the other side. And then on the other side, I need to do the opposite of what we did here, from increasing, and we need to decrease, which is basically we're going to be doing the opposite of what we did here. Instead of chaining one at the end of each row, we're actually going to skip the last stitch of each row, and that's going to make it smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until like we're right here again. And it's going to be great. So yeah, once you get to the point where you're happy with the height of it, then you can stop chaining one at the end of the row, and you can just continue on your way back down as you normally would, and that's going to make it straight across. And that's what we're going for. Alrighty then, I will check in with you in a couple more rows. Alrighty, so I have crocheted my way all across the top to the other side to the same point as the first side that I did. And remember when I said that we were going to taper off and like get smaller and smaller? Well, forget that, because even when I did that over here, you can't even tell. It kind of looks exactly the same as just like this. So I just continued going straight across, and then I'm just going to stop it right there. There's also no need for me to waste extra yarn doing that because yeah, that's all I have left. So I'm just going to make the neck straps, aka the straps that actually show, and then the little tassel thing right here with the yarn that I have left. And then for the back straps, I'm just going to use black probably because again, running out of yarn here. So from this point, I'm just going to cut the yarn from the yarn ball, bring in that excess yarn, and then tuck it in, and then I'm just going to cut it later. And then I'm going to figure out which side I want the front side to be. Let's see, this, oh, I like this side to be the front side. So that means that this is going to be the back, and this is where I'm going to make the back straps like this, and also where I'm going to make all of the ugly knots face inward over here. That way everything's all nice and pretty on this side. Okay, so to make the neck straps, I'm just going to attach the yarn over here where I want the neck strap to be, create a chain of like 100, and then I'm going to detach the yarn from the yarn ball, attach it over here, make a chain of about 100 as well, and then I'll have 2 straps. That way I could tie it to the back of my neck, and that will be my neck strap. Okay, so like I said, I'm just going to attach the yarn right here, and then chain a chain of about, maybe 100 is too many, probably like 80. And then the way I figure out where to attach my second strap so that's even is I fold the project in half, and then I go to where the strap is, and then I go to the matching stitch on the other side, and then that's when I attach my second strap and do the exact same thing. So I have completed the neck straps like I said I was going to make them, and it looks something like this. And now I'm going to make the back straps with, again, black yarn because I ran out of this yarn. I only have like this little string left, and I want to use this for a drawstring on this top portion right here. I think that would look cute. And yeah, so I'm just going to grab this black yarn and my hook, and I'm going to attach the yarn to the bottom portion of the top, and then I'm going to create a chain, yeah, of about 120. And the reason that this needs to be so long is because we're actually going to crisscross it right here. Boop, 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 boop. So it needs to be pretty long. Maybe not 120, maybe 100 actually. So I actually ended up counting the stitches this time, and it was a total of 110. So now I'm going to crisscross these straps. I'm going to take one strap from one side, bring it over to the opposite side, and then attach it to the middle portion of the opposite side. And then I'm going to bring it over to the opposite side one last time and attach it to the top portion of the opposite side. And it should look something like this. Crisscross. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other strap, so I'm going to bring it from one side to the opposite side and attach it to the middle portion. And then after I've attached it, then I'm going to crisscross it over to the opposite side and then attach it to the top portion of the bottom portion of the top. And after I've attached that, then I have finished with the entire top. Well, besides the drawstring, which I will add right now. So I added the drawstring by weaving the yarn in and out of the stitches and then tying it in the middle. You don't have to do this, but I thought it would be really cute to add it on here, and that's how I made this top. I know it's not the smoothest tutorial ever, especially compared to all the other ones I have, and if you are interested in watching beginner-friendly, more fluid crochet tutorials, I have a ton of them on my channel. I'll also link some of my favorites in the description box below, so you go ahead and check those out. Have fun. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great time crocheting. Please like this video if you found it interesting, entertaining, or helpful. And don't forget to click that red subscribe button if you have not already, so I can see you next time. Bye!